والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وآله الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه المنتجبين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى قيام يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Continuing with our discussions on the Salah, obviously the prerequisites we have spoken of, that the Sharia institutionalizes that we perform wudu and then we wear fresh clothes, we perfume ourselves, we find a spot that is quiet, that does not distract us, and we ourselves psychologically are approaching the Salah with the understanding that we are going to stand before God, and it's a special moment. Now, all these preparatory stages are there to enforce to the soul that this is something extraordinary. It is not a normal part of day. It is quite a special part of the day, so that the mind becomes prepared. Now, the secret is in that mindfulness, attentiveness, inner calm and preparedness to meet with God. It is here that we find the du'as of the wonderful Imams and their psychological state when they would appear upon the prayer mat. We would find that Imam Zainul Abidin would stand upon his prayer mat, his cloak would start falling from one of his shoulders, but he would be as straight as a tree or a bark of a tree, and he would not move and not adjust his cloak. And after the prayer, they would ask him, why did you not adjust your garments? He would say, because it was audacious to do that when I stood in front of my God and I was so immersed in his presence that I found it disrespectful to make any movement. Or when Imam Hassan Salamullah alayhi used to come for the prayers, his color would turn pale and he would tremble in the awe of God. And when they would ask him, he would say, I advance to the meeting of the most majestic one, whose presence fills my soul with awe. Obviously, these are very advanced souls who are approaching the prayer. The secret, however, is in that inner preparedness, that if we can regularly practice Salah with the mind and the heart being emptied of every other preoccupation, then we quickly find that as a practice of meditation, it starts to work upon us. Our souls start to deepen, the capacity increases, we become more wholesome creatures, and we begin to inevitably arrive at a more superior level of our inner existence. It may not be felt initially, but as the days go on, we would look back suddenly and say, oh, my mind is no longer filled with thoughts. I'm no longer rattled with fleeting emotions. There is a lot of calm and stability within me. So it starts slowly. We might not realize it, but the change does manifest itself eventually, and we begin to understand that, yes, I have changed. So in line with this, the very first thing that is required is an intention. The Blessed Prophet did say, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, that the quality of deeds is contingent upon the intentions. Now, whether that's a good intention or bad intention, the goodness of a good act is deepened by a wholesome intention. The level of evil of an evil act is intensified through the intention. It's an odd world. We don't realize We make things happen outside ourselves. If we have a calm heart and beautiful intentions, the world begins to yield to us in a calm and a conducive and a compatible way. If there is turbulence within, then the world reciprocates with turbulence. We find that we bring out aggression in the people that we meet. Now, it might not be the case that they are aggressive, but we ignite that aggression within their souls without even wanting to, due to our own internal aggression. Sometimes we perform a very small act, but with the purest of intentions. That act is worthier than endless other charitable good deeds that are not accompanied by such wholesome intention. Sometimes we may speak a small lie, but the intention accompanying it is so unwholesome that the impact of that one little act is felt for the longest time to come and creates utmost devastation. So, a'malu bin niyat. Deeds are in accordance with the intentions. And it is not far-fetched to say that the actual physical deeds accountability will be simple, but the accountability of the inner state will be far more intense. A person went to the Prophet and he said, Ya Rasulullah, I love the people who stand at nights vigilant in the prayers before God, but I can't do the same. The Prophet said, Allah will raise you with them because your heart is with them. He said, I admire the people who fast long hours of the day, many days of the year, but I can't do the same. The Prophet said, God will raise you with them because your inner being is aligned with them. So the intention is what makes us, the intention is what breaks us before the physical deed. If the intention is beautiful, the physical deed is carved out to be beautiful. If the intention is not beautiful, the physical deed might outwardly be a good deed, but that unwholesome intention would ruin the physical nature of that deed and its effects. So when we go before Allah, the intention is what? Think about this carefully. That I'm standing before God, but what does that mean? That intention needs to be looked at very accurately. That I am a bodily creature in a bodily universe, given, created, and governed by the one before whom I stand. Every bit of me right now is indebted to the one before whom I advance. Every intention of mine, every emotion of mine, every thought of mine is seen by the one before whom I stand. He has seen the whole day prior to this stage, and now he will see what I display of myself as I stand before him. And then to ask, well, what do I take back with me in this life or from this life? And the one before whom I stand, who really is he? Is he the one I am going to eventually and inevitably? Does the world make any difference in front of him? Does the beauty of my face, of my body, make any difference to him? Or does the beauty of my soul make a difference to him? To ask these very searching questions, once we understand in our minds that this world is going to perish, and it is perishing, once we understand that the breaths that I breathe may be snatched away from me at any moment, and I have no guarantee of the next breath, and the one before whom I stand is in control of my breaths. Once we understand that the praise and the gratitude of the world, the enmity that the world shows to me and the slender, it means nothing, for all of it will be left behind with my body. Once I am gone, nobody will have the time to neither praise me or curse me. When we understand that, the intention then is elevated to a different level, that I am standing before the one who is my beginning, who is my continuation, and who is my end. With an intention like that, then, when we approach God, there is due reverence to God. Not only are the hearts struck with awe at the majesty of God, when the hearts feel his touch, not only are the hearts melted in the splendor of his love, when the softness and the gentleness of his affection reaches us, but the mind is very clear that I am before the one who matters. I need to be with him. The thought that I need to know him and understand him does not cross our minds at this point. The only intention is that I am with the one who really matters. Now, with that being the intention, the preparedness of Salah comes within us. Here then, we are told to enter within a sacred state, a state of consecration. Takbir ihram, the takbir that restricts us and binds us. Why does it bind us? Because willingly we declare to him that now I have come into a sacred space. In that sacred space, I shall have no discretion. I shall be beholden to you and your discretion. That's why once we pronounce the takbir, we give away our discretion. And we uphold the etiquettes required by him in his presence. It's like Moses arriving at the mountain of Sinai, where Allah says, إِنَّكَ بِالْوَادِ الْمُقَدَّسِ طُوَى. O Moses, اخلع عليك. Take off your slippers. You are in a holy sanctuary. And when Moses throws the staff and flees, God says, come back, Moses. Do not fear. In my presence, the messengers ought not fear. When we enter that holy space, there is no fear now, because we are with the one. If he wishes to take us, we have already given ourselves away to him by entering into that holy space. If he wishes to keep us, we will remain. There is no fear. We have entered the sanctuary. We have handed ourselves over to him. I finish with this, that the first part of the salah after the intention is accompanied by what we call takbir, al-ihram, where we say Allah Akbar. Allah is the greatest. But that doesn't make any sense. We know Allah is great. We know Allah is the greatest. And we know everything is the handiwork of God. There is no comparison. So why do we say Allahu Akbar? Why? It is here that the soul, before entering into the sacred space, is informing itself that Allah is bigger than me, and I am handing myself over to Allah. And that makes sense, because the world has no value beyond the value we give the world. Whereas an individual would crave the kingdom of Solomon, another one would crave tasting the sips of death in the company of his beloved Hussein, and give away the kingdom of Solomon. The value is what we give to the world. In and of itself, the world has no value in the deepest sense. So therefore, we are the ones who place value in the world. We are the ones who love and we are the ones who hate. We are the yardstick. When we enter the holy sanctuary, we say, lift the hands, make a ceremonial gesture. Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest one, not I. And with that, I commence my meeting with Allah. I'll stop there. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.